What's going on, party people? My name is Solomon. I am an artist, and thus I go by Solomon the Artiste. Well, first of all, I offer you all an apology. I realize if I confuse myself, this can be confusing for you. So basically what happened is that in yesterday's video, I said that I mistakenly did not upload the video for day 5, but it turned out that was not the case. I just mixed myself up because I mixed up, my date versus my fast date versus my film date. So as you all know, for example, today is the 9th, but I am on currently as I film this video, I am in my 8th day of fasting. But in this video, I'm going to speak on yesterday, which was the 7th day of fasting. So 987. Stupid. But basically that's how I confused myself. So I subconsciously uploaded day 5 as day 6 because I was in the midst of day 6 whilst filming, even though I was speaking about day 5 in that video. I'm sure even that sounded confusing, but I'm sure it's also understandable if you really take note. But either way, I apologize and I promise I will not make it happen again. So, talking about yesterday, my 7th day of fasting. First of all, I'm excited. I've completed one entire week of fasting, a full entire week of fasting, 7 full days. And I feel tremendous. It's amazing. And I am just grateful. Like, I feel so great, so light. I see so many physical changes. And yeah, I just want to keep you guys up with the journey and with the effects that I see. My effects might be a bit different from the many others that I've seen on YouTube, other YouTube channels. So first of all, let's see. I took a crap 3 times yesterday. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm starting right there. But I say this with reason. So I tried to be strategic. First of all, as you all know, if you watched yesterday's video, I actually had to work yesterday, one of my survival jobs. And I'll admit, working the job was a little harder than I expected, but I made it through. But first, let me go back. So I'm just gonna go through the day as it went yesterday. I woke up and I chugged some water. I tried something different. I actually boiled some of my distilled water so that I could drink it hot. I figured that would help to, push anything that might still be there, because I felt like, it'd been a while since I had actually passed anything, and I felt like even so it's been 7 days, or well, technically 6 days at the time, there has to still be something there, that needs to be removed. So I drank the hot water and nothing really shifted per se, not immediately at least. So when I saw that, I figured like, oh, okay, I must be empty. And as I was preparing, to get into the shower, because I had like chugged like a half gallon of water, figured, I'll just at least flush my liver out, by urinating. I suddenly needed to go. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go, So I realized it's not so much about the temperature of the water as much as it is about the amount of water. There has to be, I guess, some sort of weight and whatnot to help, push things down. So I go use the toilet and I release, and this time there was a lot of dark matter. I'm sorry, y'all, I know it's TMI, but I'm sure some of you want to be aware of some of this, so I apologize, but sorry not sorry. Demi Lovato. So there was a lot of dark matter at the bottom of the toilet bowl again, and there was a lot of mucousy slime substance floating atop. So there was that, and I figured that was it, so I do that, wash my hands, all that good stuff. I brush my teeth. For whatever reason, I decided to brush my teeth before I got into the shower yesterday. I don't know. But either way, I brushed my teeth and I'm getting ready to go into the shower, and suddenly I feel my stomach moving again, and I'm just like, whoa, 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 what is this? So I finish brushing my teeth as fast as I can, and I go back to the toilet, and sure enough, another release. And I'm like, what is this? What is there to release at this point? But I release, and I take a look again, and this time around, there was no no solid matter, but it was pretty much all mucusy slime with, you know, the many tints of poop. So so there was that, and then I'm feeling good, feeling like, okay, I got a good release, and then I go and I shower, and I was strategic with my shower this time. You know, I made sure to soak myself up and wash my non-hair, don't judge me. But basically I sudsed myself up and scrubbed and everything as best as I could before I allowed the hot water to really hit me. That way I could really get the shower that I wanted without almost passing out, which worked. It was fantastic, you know. But still, whilst I was in the shower soaping up and I was like soaked up, you know, I suddenly found myself needing to go again. And that was the craziest thing, because literally imagine being completely soaked up, you know, and you feel like you gotta take a crap, and it's like, hold up, how are we gonna make this work? Because literally soaked up, you know, behind is just completely soaked up, you know, legit. Because, you know, you gotta wash properly, you know, especially when you're fasting, because in ketosis, like legit, the body will, you know, it pushes out some intense odors, and I understand that's detoxifying, detoxification. I like saying that word. I don't know if it's real or not. I'll look it up at some point. Either way, I was able to hold it long enough to finish my shower, and then I, you know, released again, you know. But of course, you know, who wants to, you know, just finish showering and then go sit on the toilet? So, you know, you have to like wash again and all that good stuff. Either way though, the third time around, yes, I did take a quick look. It was just clear, just pure mucus, and I'm like, you know, it just made me think and remember the words of Dr. Sebi, you know, talking about, you know, it's the mucus in our bodies that make us sick. Because I'm like, the more that would release is the more I just felt so lucid and all that good stuff, you know. Either way though, I finally, you know, finished getting ready for work and all that stuff, and I leave. I had an experiment yesterday, so I needed to help my dad with something before I went to work, but that was going to take me a good 2 to 3 hours before I actually had to get on the subway to go to work. And so I prepped myself, you know, I got ready for work and everything beforehand before I went with him. It was a lot of driving basically, and because I knew I'd be driving with him for, you know, a long period of time, I opted to limit my water intake. That's part of the reason that I drank so much water before I got into the shower. You know, I figured I would hydrate myself properly and my body would release accordingly. And it worked. I'd say it worked. I was able to go through the ride without having to, you know, do the pee-pee dance in my seat. And however, I finally was able to finish that task and went to the subway, and I had no choice. I needed to use the restroom, so I had to use the subway restroom. And anyone who knows New York, you know, if you don't have to use the subway restroom, do not, you know. Ironically though, in this subway restroom, it's like the toilets are like cleaner than usual, and the urinals are cleaner than usual. This has nothing to do with fasting, but I'm sorry, it's just it's in my mind. But the sink is just magnificent. It's spotless, you know. And there was some man in there who, I can't say if he was homeless per se or whatever, because he had his bike, he was dressed well-ish and all that stuff. I guess he might be homeless considering that he was, you know, like washing his nails and stuff in the restroom, but he happened to have soap, liquid soap, and he saw me go to, I was really literally just gonna let the water run over my hands, and you know what I do walk with all the time is hand sanitizer, but he was like, here, have some soap, and I was like, okay, you know. And I washed my hands, and you know, I intended to still hand sanitize still, but that would be rude for me to assume that, you know, something's wrong with this soap because whatever. I don't know. Either way, did that and got on the train. And but here's the thing: the reason I mentioned the restroom is because I noticed that even though I was able to hold whatever needed to come out while I was in the car, peeing was difficult. Like, it took effort. Like, I had to, it's as if, like, you know, I held it too long and my bladder was just, you know, almost like not functioning or something. And it was like difficult, you know, like it was just not coming out, you know. And I was there for a good amount of minutes just trying to make sure that I have enough pee out. Sorry, y'all. And, you know, finally I finished, like I said, and yada yada yada, and I finally went to the train car. I get off the train. The train was about an hour and a half ride, and then I have like a 10-minute walk to the job. And I felt it. It was like, oh, I gotta go again. And thank goodness I was still early on the train, you know, so I had time to go use the restroom at work and all that stuff. And the same thing happened again. It was a really slow. Oh no, this is gonna be a long video. I'm sorry, y'all. Either way though, it was a long, like, slow process of peeing and everything again right before my shift started. But you know, I was concerned for a moment, but I figured, you know, it has to be because I was holding the water in for too long, and also because I was choosing not to drink water throughout this ordeal, because you know, this job is not one where I can like run back and forth to the restroom. I need to be on the job. So that happened, and so basically what happened next is that when the shift was finally over, I went to the restroom to make one final release before, you know, I got back onto the train. And this time it was fine, like it was just a normal release. And I was like, oh, okay, so it must have been, you know, me holding it too long or something. I don't know. But I do walk with my distilled water, so I did, you know, take a few sips before I got onto the train. And yeah, I got home and all was well. However, at work though, this job requires me to stand on my feet at all times. I don't mind that. That's not an issue for me. And I thought that I would be fine yesterday. That wasn't the case. You know, it didn't occur to me. It did occur to me, but I thought, again, I just, you know, convinced myself that I'll be fine anyway. But it was a little difficult to be standing all that time, you know. It was about, so basically we were standing for a good 2 hours and 15 minutes straight, you know. And I had to sort of revert back to some tricks that I used when I did a production of King Lear with the Royal Shakespeare Company. You know, there was a scene, the opening scene required me to stand in place, no movement, nothing, just holding this tall, heavy sun, basically, you know, sun in the sky. And I'm standing there and I'm holding it, and I just cannot move for the first 20 or 22 minutes of the show. And I had to like learn little tricks where I would like stand there still but allow my knees to move back and forth as if I was on a bicycle, you know, just so that there was some function and some flow. Because if you stand there with your knees locked, for some odd reason that like cuts off some sort of circulation or flow of some sort, and that just sort of makes you weak and makes you want to pass out, basically. I actually saw that happen with one of my other fellow actors in the show, and he just fell flat on his face, had to get stitches and everything. You know, he still did the show, but he, you know, had some tape on his chin. And so I was basically pulling those tricks. I saw a few people looking at me odd because you know, in this case where you're fasting and you're not running on the fuel of food, you know, I needed to move a little bit more. So I had moments where I was just sort of moving left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, doing the whole, busybody thing, can't stand still type thing. And I'm sure that's what it looked like, but it was really me just trying to, stay active, stay awake, stay present, and not, lose myself and all that stuff, And there were a few moments where I even actually did step away, even though we have to stand for that long period of time. And like I said, I can't run to the restroom every 10 minutes or whatever to use the restroom. That doesn't mean that we're not allowed to use the restroom. They're not horrible people. I would step away for a moment or so to go in the bathroom. I put, paper towel, all that good stuff on the seat. It's a beautiful, venue. So a theater venue basically. So, the restrooms are, immaculate. But I would put toilet paper on the seats and I would just sit. I just needed those few 10-15 minutes to just sit, and then I would feel fine and I would come back to my post. And if I needed to do that again, I did it again, and I got through the day like that. That was pretty much my fasting experience from yesterday. I have noticed that the cold weather, I'm in New York like I said, so we're going through our winter days, and the cold hits you harder. It hits you harder than normal. I don't know if it has to do with the lack of food in the body, or if it has to do with me, becoming so much thinner and everything, but the cold hits you harder, which is ironic at the same time, because whilst fasting, I'm realizing that I still can't stay in, too hot of a space at the same time, which is why I nearly passed out when I showered the other day in such hot, steamy water, you need cold air when, I can't even go any further with that. But the point is, that was my experience yesterday on my 7th day of fasting. And it was an experience, I made it work. But there's nothing really much more to say. I functioned, I made it through. I'm realizing if you're someone who's gonna try to do a 21-day fast, and you do have a job, it's probably best if you have a job that allows you to sit, most of the time. What I've noticed with the YouTubers whose channels I look at, they don't have jobs that require them to be constantly mobile. It's important to be mobile because your body needs to know what it is that's, getting wear and tear so that it can, fix and adjust that. But these, YouTubers, they have a lifestyle that allows them to, not have to be too active, not have to leave their house on a certain day or for a certain amount of days if they don't have to. They have a lifestyle that allows them to just, chillax and just be until further notice, I just got lucky that I'm in the midst of a time in my life where most of my survival jobs don't need me at the moment, which is not great for me financially, but it's great for me fasting wise and spiritually. I can get through this fast and survive basically. So I am going to end this here. I apologize again for that whole confusion from yesterday, but hopefully we have all, gathered our thoughts and we are back on track. I definitely am. And again, if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section. I will gladly answer. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching and God bless. I'm sorry y'all, but there's a few things that I keep saying every day I'm going to add into my video, and I always forget to because I don't write things down. I just sort of speak. I want these videos to be conversational, but I'm going to add it at the end of, even though I said, the video's over, I'm gonna just add it in very quickly. So for one thing, something else that happened yesterday, my dad, while I was running some errands with him before I went to my official job, he asked me to run into a deli and purchase him a bagel and some hot chocolate, which I did. In that deli though, I don't know if it has anything to do with the fasting. I think it does. The sense of the foods hit me so incredibly hard, and not in a good way. Like the fried foods. I want to say the fried flesh and all that stuff, like it really just hit me in such a way where I felt like I was going to throw up. I was so nauseous. It was so bad. And I could not wait to get out of that deli. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's the norm with fasting, but it hit me so hard, and I was just, I didn't know what to do with myself. It was ridiculous, you know? And I just find that the sense of a lot of things just really mess with me. It makes me feel like I want to throw up. So that happened yesterday as well. I wanted to put that in there because it was a part of yesterday's journey. Additionally, there's something that I noticed from a couple of days ago that I keep saying I'm going to add into the next video, and I always forget to add it. There is a YouTuber by the name of, I totally wrote it somewhere and I don't know where I put it, but his name is basically, so as I look up his name, I'm going to tell you what he said. So in his video, he had mentioned how as his body was detoxifying, his YouTube name is True Grit Productions, TRUEGRIT Productions. And in his video, he had mentioned that he only did a 5-day fast, but his body, as it was detoxifying, he said his left armpit was like just rancid, basically, as it was detoxifying. And it was just the one that was, you know, sweating and all that stuff. And I saw that and I thought that was incredibly interesting and random, but I find that is happening to me, except that's happening in my right armpit, where like everything that's coming out is coming out in this armpit. So this is the armpit that I scrub like nobody's business in the shower, because, you know, I don't want to be at work smelling like, you know, puke. So that's been happening with me, and that's really the only experience I've been having in respect to body odor and what have you. And I made sure yesterday, even for work, that I used that deodorant well. I sprayed down the cologne and, you know, whatever perfume, body scents and whatever, because I just wanted to be sure. And I don't think there was anything else. That's pretty much the few things I wanted to add in here. Again, I'm sorry I've extended this video by an additional almost 4 minutes, but again, here we are at the end. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for indulging me, and God bless.